Okay, assignment 6A for Algebra 1. I got a multiplication table on the second page for you to use, okay? So the following quadratic equations, I'm going to do 8 examples and there's 5 problems. So example 1, and you've seen all this stuff before, okay? We have x to the power of 2 plus 7x plus 12 equals 0. So that x to the power of 2 means I'm looking for 2 answers. Now label your A's, B's, and C's. So that would have a 1 and that'd be your A. That is a 7 as an X, so that's a B. And then C is your constant, never labeled a 0. So you have A, B, C. Now before you set up the GCF and the boxes, here's what I want you to start doing. It'll go a lot quicker in the long run. Make your square root, and you're going to put 2 parentheses right away, and you're going to do your b squared, b to the second, minus 4ac, kind of like you're doing on that second assignment last week. Just that part of it, b squared minus 4ac. Make sure you get 2 parentheses in the beginning. So b is 7, 4a is 1, and c is 12. Now, what you're going to do is go to a Google calculator, or on your phone or whatever, and you're going to enter this all in, okay? Without having to show like that a bunch of steps to get it. You're going to click the square root. Now one parenthesis comes up on its own. You have to put a second one, okay? There should be 2 parentheses right away. And then I put 7 to the second. So I go 7, close the parentheses once, okay? And then to do a second power, you hit that x to the y key and a 2, okay? And then you keep on going. Minus 4, parentheses 1, parentheses 12. So minus, parentheses 4, parentheses 1, parentheses 12, okay? Close the parentheses. Remember, you need 2 parentheses at the beginning, okay? You really need 2. See, around that 7, you should have 2 parentheses, and then the rest of it's just 1, okay, so forth. Now click equals and you get 1. So it's not a decimal, so it can be factored. So you set up your boxes, your GCF, because we know the T-chart's going to work. Because I don't like doing those problems where I get to the T-chart, can't find it, and have to switch my method, okay? This tells you didn't get a decimal, so it tells you the T-chart works. So the greatest common factor, 1, 7, and 12 would be 1. You wouldn't put an X because there's a C. There's a C, you can't do an X. So I take 1 times 12, and that's 12. Now it's positive 12, so it's a negative times a negative. The signs have to match. And we're adding to try to get to plus 7. So if it's plus 7, it's probably going to be plus plus. So 12 divided by 1 is 12, but that doesn't add to 7. Okay, negative, negative. 12 divided by 2 is 6, that's negative 8. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Now that's negative 7, so we have it. We just got to change them both to plus, so it makes positive 7. Now my A up there is a 1, so if it's a 1, you can get rid of it and just make 2 parentheses, okay? Where it's x, x, and then plus 3 plus 4. Equals 0. All I've done that is factored it and rewrote it. Okay, so F1, F2. So x plus 3 equals 0. X plus 4 equals 0. So minus 3, minus 4. So x equals negative 3, or x can equal negative 4. So those are my 2 solutions. And that's how we're going to be doing where we have an A, a B, and a C. We're actually going to do that first before I set up my boxes, because if that would have been a decimal, then I wouldn't have set up these boxes because it can't be factored. Okay, example 2. We have 5x to the power of 2 minus 10x equals 0. So there's 2 answers. And we have an A, a B. There is no C. So when there's an A and a B, okay, we just make the GCF box, okay? That's all you need, GCF. So 5 and 10 it's 5, but if you go to, here's 5, you go to the smaller row, 5, is 10 in that row? Yes, it is. So if I would do 5. And they both have x because we have an a and a b, so I factor out 5x. Put a parentheses around it, and we have our f1. Now our f2, we go up and divide by 5x, because when I pull that, it's like the opposite of the distributive property. 5 divided by 5 is 1, x second divided by x is always x. Negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2, so minus 2. And we have your f2. Okay, now you're ready to roll. So 5x could equal 0, or 1x minus 2 could equal 0. So we'll divide by 5 here, add 2 here, 1x equals 2. You can divide by 1, but it's still 2. So 0 and 2 are the two answers. Okay, so that's how to do an ABC. This is an AB. Okay, and then we have an AC on the next one. We've got 4x to the second power minus 100 equals 0. There's two answers. That's an A and that's a C. There's no B. AC, we just don't make any boxes. We get the x squared by itself. We do the opposite of minus 100, which is add 100. Then we do the opposite of times 4, which is divide by 4. So 4x to the second equals 100. And then we can divide by 4, which gives me 25. Now, what number times itself would be 25? Well, if I find the square root of 25, it tells me that would be 5. So 5 or negative 5. Okay, example 4. 4x to the second plus 3x minus 8 equals 0. So again, two answers. That has x squared, that's an a term. That is an x, that's a b term, that's a c term. Now we have a, b, and c. So again, before I start drawing boxes, I want to use this discriminant formula here. So 2 parentheses at the get-go. We weren't doing that last week because I wasn't just doing it on a calculator, but you want 2 at the beginning. B closed to the second minus 4ac. That's how I want you to start doing the ABCs. So go to your calculator, go square root, it's right there. And if your phone doesn't have this kind of calculator, just do a Google search, Google calculator, and there it is. So square root. 1 parentheses will come up on its own. You need a second, okay? And then for the b, you're going to put 3. So 3 to the second. 3, close it once, and then hit that x to the y power, and then hit 2, okay? And then I minus parentheses 4, because a is 4, and then c is negative 8. You got to make sure you get the 8 as a negative. So minus parentheses 4, parentheses 4, parentheses negative 8. Minus 4, parentheses 4, parentheses negative 8. To do a negative, you just hit the minus key. Okay, hit equals. That's a decimal. Okay, 11.70. Okay, so this can't be factored because I got a decimal, so I'm using the quadratic formula. Opposite of b, opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac, b squared minus 4ac over 2a, over 2a. So the opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. Now cross out that whole square root because we have the answer for that. We have 11.70. Just put that on top. And then the a is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay. Okay, so now we have everything. We're going to take negative 3. Plus or minus, we have negative 3, and then the square root was 11.70. I got that from the calculator, and then we have 8 on the bottom because it was 2 times 4. So negative 3 plus 11.70, click equals, divide by 8. 1.09 is the first answer. I round that last digit up. And then negative 3 minus 11.70 equals, divided by 8, negative 1.84. Okay, those are our two answers. Okay, example 5. We have 7x to the second power plus 16x, 16x plus 15 equals 2x to the second plus 3. So again, we got two answers here. So we have an A, we have a B, a C, and over here I got another A and another C. Well, first thing you have to do before you do anything else with A, B, and C, you need to get one side equal to 0. Okay? So get rid of these over here. Minus 2x second, minus 2x second, minus 3, and that can go with the fifth. Remember, there's a C on the other side. So A, 7 minus 5 is 2, so 5x to the second is my A. B, I got just the plus 16x, and then C, 15 minus 3 is 12. Equals 0 now. Okay, now set up your discriminant. So b squared minus 4ac. Okay? So Google Calculator, so square root. Remember, one parentheses comes up automatically. You just need a second, and then you're going to put the b, which is 16, to the second power. So 16, close the parentheses first, then do the second power. And when you close parentheses, just do it once, okay? The first parentheses indicates that everything is in this square root. That comes up on its own, but then I type a second one so I can just put the 16 and just close the 1 on the 16. So x to the y, and then 2, then minus, then 4, a is 5, and c is 12, okay? So minus parentheses 4, parentheses 5, parentheses 12. Okay, I got 4. That isn't a decimal, so that can be factored. So make your GCF and T boxes. Didn't give myself a lot of room here. 5, 16, and 12. If you look on your multiplication table, the only place you can find all three of those, 5, 16, and 12, is just in the first row. Okay, so it's 1. Again, no x, so we just don't do it. So I take a times c. 5 times 12 is 60. It's positive, so it's a negative times a negative, and we're trying to add it to get to positive 16. Okay, 60 divided by 1 is 60. That isn't going to work. Divide 60 by 2, you get 30. That's negative 32. That wouldn't work. Divide 60 by 3, you get 20. That won't work. Divide 60 by 4, you get 15. That's 19. You're getting closer though. 60 divided by 5 is 12. That's negative 17, but it's got to be 16 on the money. 60 divided by 6 would give you 10, and right there, that's 16. But it's negative 16, so we go plus plus. Now the A is 5 this time, so if it's not a 1 to deal with the 5, when the A can't just be eliminated, you need 4 parentheses, okay? You start with that 5. Then you're going to go x plus 6 and x plus 10. Okay, so 5 and 6, the only place 5 and 6 are together is in the first row, so that would really just stay the same. So there's my F1, 5x plus 6. 5 and 10 are both in the fifth row, so we divide by 5, and that's 1x plus 2. And that's F2, and that equals 0. So there we have it. So 5x plus 6 could equal 0, 1x plus 2 equals 0. So I subtract 6, I get negative 6. Divide by 5, that's a decimal, so it's negative 6/5. And then minus 2, 1x equals negative 2. You can just get rid of the 1 or divide, but it's still negative 2. So negative 6/5 and negative 2 are the two solutions there. So when you have ABC, you need to get everything on one side, okay? You got to clear this side. This side has to be cleared out. Okay, example 6. We have 4x to the second plus 3x equals 3x to the second minus 4x plus 18. So we got two answers. So that's an A, that's a B. That's an A, a B, and a C. Okay, ABC, you need 0. Okay, you need to get this side equal to 0. So you're going to minus 3x squared because it's positive, and you have an A there where you can minus 3x squared. You're going to plus 4x, that's a B, and you have a B over here, plus 4x, then minus 18. You don't have a C over there, so you put it at the end, okay? So A, 4 minus 3 is 1, 1x to the second, there's my A. B, 3 plus 4 is 7, there's my B. Minus 18 is going to be my C. Okay, now set up your discriminant to see if you have to factor or use a quadratic formula. Because you don't want to go on a wild goose chase with that t-chart only to have it not work. That's the point of what I'm doing right here. Okay, so I know my t-chart's going to work. So B is 7. I'll get my calculator up. So I got square root. You need to put a second parentheses. And you're going to put 7 to the second power minus 7. Close it once to the second power. Okay, should look just like that. Minus, and we know we always have a 4 right after that minus, put in parentheses. Then A and C. A is 1, C is negative 18. Okay, so that's negative 18, don't forget that. Okay, I got 11. That's not a decimal, so it will factor. That means the t-chart's going to work here. GCF and then my table. Okay, GCF 1, 7, and 18 would be 1. When 1's one of the numbers, it's just going to be a 1, or we wouldn't do an X with it. So 1 times negative 18 is negative 18. Now it's a negative this time. Okay, so a negative means it's a positive times a negative. So we're adding to try to get to plus 7. Remember, negative means we need one positive, one negative. Now start dividing. 18 divided by 1 is 18. That adds to negative 17. 18 divided by 2 is 9, and that's negative 7. So we have the right number. We just got to make it positive 7. Well, I just flip around the signs. Plus 9, minus 2. Negative 2 and positive 9 make positive 7. Okay, A is 1, okay, so after all that work, A is 1 means I can get rid of it and just go to parentheses with x times x. I don't need to put a number in front because it was just a 1. Minus 2 plus 9, and that's F1, that's F2. Again, if that were to be multiplied, FOILed out, that would equal this. Okay, so x minus 2 could equal 0, x plus 9 could equal 0, so I add 2. And that takes me to 2. I minus 9, that takes me to negative 9. 2 and negative 9. Okay, 7 and 8. Okay, example 7, we have 4x to the second equals 8x. Okay, so there's two answers. Label your numbers. That's an A. That's a B. Now AB's, we got to get a 0 over here. Okay, so we minus 8x, and since there is not a B over there currently, we just put it at the end. Okay, so we have 4x to the second minus 8x equals 0. Now remember, with AB we do the GCF and then we're done. Okay. Well, we're not done, but that gives us our F1 and F2 right there. Okay, 4 and 8. 4 and 8, remember, go to the fourth row first, because there's 4 and 8 together, so 4 would be my greatest common factor. 2 is a common factor, but it's not the greatest. then you want to factor out an x along with that, and that's your f1. So then you go up and divide by 4x. Always cancel the x's on the second one. That's 1x minus 2. So 4x could equal 0, or 1x minus 2 could equal 0. So I divide by 4, I got 0. Plus 2, you get 2. You don't really have to divide by 1. Okay, so ABC, you do the discriminant, that's square root, and if you get a decimal, just use quadratic formula, don't use t-chart. A and a B, do it the way we just did it. If there's an A and a C, okay, remember this one, AC, you add, divide, square root. You won't be making any boxes. On AC problems, no boxes. AB would just be the GCF box. Okay, last one. Example 8. We've got 8x to the power of 2 minus 7x minus 5 equals 0. Two answers. Okay, so A, B, C. A, B, C, your first step is to set up that b squared, b to the second, minus 4a and c. Remember, put 2 parentheses at the beginning. Okay, so I go to my Google calculator. Hit the square root right below the log. You need a second parentheses all the time. And then b. Well, what's b? b is negative 7. Okay. To the second power, so minus 7. Don't forget the second power. X to the y to the 2. Okay. Minus, and there's always a 4. And then a is 8. C is negative 5. So parentheses 8. Parentheses negative 5. Okay, that's a decimal, 14.46. So that can't be factored since it's a decimal, so we don't make the GCF in the T box. We go to the song, opposite of B, plus or minus, B square root, B squared minus 4AC, B squared minus 4AC over 2A, over 2A. See, I'm saving time because I don't have to do a T-chart and not find it, okay? When that's a decimal, I know it's not factorable. Okay, we're going to cross opposite of B is plus 7, so just put 7. Now, cross out the entire square root because you've already figured that out, 14.46. And then A is 8. Okay, so plus minus, we have a 7. After the plus minus, we have the 14.46. 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, so I've got 7 plus 14.46 equals, divided by 16, 1.34. And then I take 7 and subtract 14.46, divided by 16, negative 0.47. Okay, there you have it.